Deep in the heart of Anatolia, there lay a village shrouded in mystery and fear. Surrounded by thick, ancient forests, it was known to the locals as the Cursed Village. Few dared to venture near, and those who did often returned with tales of eerie sights and unexplainable phenomena. The story begins with a group of friends, curious and adventurous, who decided to uncover the secrets of the Cursed Village. Sarah, James, Emily, and Robert had heard the legends and, with cameras and flashlights in hand, set out to explore the abandoned settlement. As they entered the village, an unnatural silence enveloped them. The air grew colder, and a thick fog began to rise from the ground, obscuring their vision. The houses, long abandoned, stood like silent sentinels, their windows dark and empty. "Let's stick together," James suggested, his voice barely above a whisper. The others nodded, feeling the weight of an unseen presence watching them. The group headed towards the village square, where an old well stood at its center. It was said that the well was the source of the curse, and anyone who drank from it would be doomed to a fate worse than death. The legend spoke of a young girl who had been thrown into the well centuries ago, accused of witchcraft by the villagers. Her spirit, filled with vengeance, was believed to haunt the village. As they approached the well, Emily felt a chill run down her spine. "Do you guys hear that?" she asked, straining to listen. A faint whispering sound seemed to emanate from the well, growing louder as they drew nearer. Sarah, the most skeptical of the group, peered into the darkness of the well. "It's just the wind," she said, trying to sound confident. But deep down, she felt an unease she couldn't explain. Suddenly, Robert's flashlight flickered and went out. "Damn it," he muttered, smacking it against his palm. The others' flashlights followed suit, plunging them into darkness. Panic set in. "Stay close," James called out, but his voice sounded distant, as if carried away by the fog. The whispering grew louder, turning into a cacophony of voices, each one filled with sorrow and anger. Without warning, the ground beneath them began to shake. The well's ancient stones shifted, and a figure emerged from the darkness. It was the ghostly form of the young girl, her eyes burning with hatred. She raised a hand, pointing at the group, and the whispers turned into a deafening roar. Emily screamed as invisible hands grabbed her, pulling her towards the well. The others tried to hold on to her, but their grip was broken by an unseen force. One by one, they were dragged towards the well, their screams echoing through the night. As they were pulled into the darkness, the village returned to its eerie silence. The fog lifted, and the flashlights flickered back to life, illuminating the empty square. The only sign of the group's presence was the faint sound of their screams, still echoing from the depths of the well. The legend of Lynette Kai lived on, a warning to all who dared to venture into the cursed village. The spirits of the past would never rest, and the village would remain shrouded in darkness, forever cursed by the sins of its inhabitants. As the echoes of the group's screams faded into the abyss, the village once again fell into its eerie stillness. Days turned into weeks, and the disappearance of Sarah, James, Emily, and Robert became another ghost story whispered among the locals. However, the friends' families were not so easily deterred. Determined to uncover the truth, they hired a seasoned paranormal investigator named Dr. Samuel Gray, known for his expertise in uncovering the hidden and the supernatural. Dr. Gray arrived at the edge of the cursed village at dusk, equipped with the latest paranormal detection equipment and a steely resolve. He set up a base camp just outside the village, reviewing the legends and the recent disappearance of the group. As night fell, he made his way into Lynette Kai, guided by a combination of skepticism and curiosity. The village seemed almost peaceful under the moonlight, but Dr. Gray could feel the heavy atmosphere of sorrow and anger that permeated the air. He approached the old well, the epicenter of the village's dark energy, and set up his equipment. His EMF meter spiked erratically, and a cold breeze brushed against his face. "Show yourself," he called out, his voice steady. "I am here to understand your pain and set you free." For a moment, there was silence. Then, the whispers began, just as the friends had heard. This time, however, Dr. Gray was prepared. He placed a hand on the well's edge, feeling the cold stone beneath his fingers. Suddenly, A ghostly figure materialized before him, the young girl, her eyes filled with a mix of sorrow and fury. "Why do you disturb my rest?" Her voice echoed, a haunting melody of despair. Dr. Gray took a deep breath. "I want to know your story. Why do you haunt this place? Why do you punish those who come here?" The girl's form flickered, and the whispers grew louder, almost drowning her words. "They accused me of witchcraft. They threw me into this well. My soul is bound here by their hatred." Dr. Gray nodded, understanding dawning in his eyes. "If I help you find peace, will you release the souls you have taken?" The girl hesitated, her spectral form wavering. "If you can lift the curse, I will release them. But you must confront the darkness that binds me." With determination, Dr. Gray began to recite an ancient ritual of cleansing, one he had studied for years. The air around him grew colder, and the whispers turned into anguished cries. The ground trembled, and the well's stones shifted as if fighting against the ritual. The ghost of the young girl let out a piercing scream, and for a moment, it seemed as if the entire village trembled. Dr. Gray's voice rose above the chaos, his words filled with power and resolve. Slowly, the cries began to fade, and a calm settled over the village. The girl's form shimmered, and a look of peace crossed her face. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice soft and clear. "I am freed." As her spirit dissipated into the night, the well's dark energy lifted, and the village seemed to breathe a sigh of relief. The fog cleared, and the coldness receded. Dr. Gray looked around, feeling the oppressive weight of the curse lifting. The next morning, the families of the missing friends arrived, hoping for news. Dr. Gray led them to the well, where, to their astonishment, Sarah, James, Emily, and Robert emerged, dazed but unharmed. They had no memory of their time in the well, only a sense of relief and peace. The story of Anatolia Kai was rewritten that day. The curse was lifted, the spirits freed, and the village, once shrouded in darkness, was now a place of tranquility. Dr. Gray's bravery and dedication had not only saved the missing friends, but also brought peace to a place long haunted by its past. Months passed, and the story of Dr. Samuel Gray's successful exorcism of Anatolia Kai spread far and wide, turning the once feared village into a symbol of hope and redemption. Visitors began to trickle in, curious to see the site where a centuries-old curse had been lifted. Among them were historians, paranormal enthusiasts, and even skeptics, all eager to witness the transformation. Yet, as the village transitioned into a quiet tourist attraction, subtle signs hinted that the peace might be temporary. Animals in the nearby forest behaved oddly, and locals whispered of strange dreams and eerie sightings at dusk. Dr. Gray, sensing unfinished business, decided to return for a final investigation. This time, he brought along a trusted colleague, Dr. Evelyn Marks, a renowned historian and medium. Together, they delved deeper into the village's past, uncovering layers of history that had been overlooked in the initial cleansing. One night, as they pored over ancient manuscripts in the village's small, musty library, Dr. Marks stumbled upon an old journal. It belonged to the village's last headman, who had recorded his fears and guilt over condemning the young girl to the well. The journal mentioned a hidden chamber beneath the village square, a place where the true source of the curse might be found. Determined to find this chamber, Dr. Gray and Dr. Marks set out at dawn, armed with maps and excavation tools. After hours of searching, they uncovered a hidden trapdoor under the cobblestones near the well. It led to a series of underground tunnels, filled with remnants of dark rituals and ancient symbols etched into the stone. As they ventured deeper, a palpable sense of dread filled the air. The tunnels opened into a vast cavern, dominated by a stone altar. It was here, the journal hinted, that the village elders had performed a forbidden ritual to bind the girl's spirit, believing it would protect the village from an even greater evil. Dr. Marks, attuned to the supernatural, sensed the lingering presence of dark magic. "This is where it all began," she whispered, her voice echoing in the cavern. "The girl's spirit was just a vessel. The true malevolence lies here, in this altar." Dr. Gray nodded, understanding the gravity of their discovery. "We need to destroy it," he said, setting up a circle of protection around the altar. Together, they chanted ancient incantations, calling upon the forces of light to banish the darkness. The ground shook violently, and the air filled with a cacophony of tormented screams. The symbols on the altar glowed with an unearthly light, then shattered into dust. A final, deafening roar filled the cavern, and then silence. Exhausted but victorious, Dr. Gray and Dr. Marks emerged from the tunnels into the morning light. The village felt different, lighter, as if a great burden had been lifted. The animals returned to their normal behavior, and the strange dreams ceased. Now truly free of its curse, became a place of healing and reflection. Visitors still came, but now they found a village at peace, its dark history transformed into a testament to resilience and redemption. Dr. Gray and Dr. Marks returned to their lives, but their bond with the village remained. They knew they had played a part in a story that spanned centuries, and their work ensured that the darkness of Cursed Village would never return. As Dr. Samuel Gray and Dr. Evelyn Marks returned to their respective homes, they couldn't shake the feeling that something still lingered in Lynette's, Kentucky. Despite the apparent peace, they both experienced unsettling dreams. In these dreams, they saw a shadowy figure whispering in an ancient language, always standing by the altar they had destroyed. Determined to uncover the truth, they decided to return to Lynette once more. This time, they brought with them a team of experts: Dr. Caroline Ross, an archaeologist with a deep knowledge of ancient Anatolian cultures; Professor Henry Wilkins, a linguist specializing in dead languages; and Liam Carter, a seasoned explorer with extensive experience in navigating underground structures. The team set up camp at the edge of the village and began their investigation anew. Dr. Ross and Professor Wilkins pored over ancient texts, seeking clues about the shadowy figure in their dreams. Meanwhile, Liam and Dr. Gray explored the tunnels beneath the village, searching for any hidden chambers they might have missed. After days of exhaustive research and exploration, Professor Wilkins made a breakthrough. He deciphered a fragment of an ancient script that spoke of a powerful entity known as Karabulut, a dark force that predated the village and had been imprisoned beneath it by ancient guardians. The rituals performed by the village elders had only temporarily contained Karabulut, using the girl's spirit as a binding agent. Realizing the enormity of their task, the team prepared for one final confrontation. They gathered in the cavern where the stone altar had once stood, armed with ancient relics and protective charms. Dr. Marks, with her mediumistic abilities, would attempt to contact the guardians and seek their guidance. As they began the ritual, the cavern grew cold, and the air thickened with a sense of impending doom. Dr. Marks entered a trance, her voice echoing with the power of the ancient guardians. "Karabulut," she intoned, "your time in this world is over. We call upon the guardians to seal you away for eternity." A fierce wind whipped through the cavern, and the shadowy figure from their dreams materialized before them. It loomed larger than life, its form shifting and twisting in the darkness. The team stood their ground, chanting the ancient incantations they had discovered. Karabulut lashed out, filling the cavern with an unholy roar. The ground trembled, and the walls cracked, but the team held firm. Dr. Mark's voice grew stronger, guided by the guardians. "Return to the void from whence you came," she commanded. A blinding light erupted from the relics, enveloping Karabulut. The shadowy figure writhed and screamed, its form dissolving into the light. The ground shook violently one last time, then stilled. The cavern was silent. The team stood in the aftermath, exhausted but triumphant. The presence of Karabulut had been vanquished, and the village was finally free from its ancient curse. As they emerged into the daylight, they were greeted by the villagers, who sensed the change and felt a newfound peace. Dr. Gray and Dr. Marks knew their work was complete. They had faced an ancient evil and emerged victorious, ensuring that Lynette would remain a place of tranquility and healing. The village's dark history had been rewritten, transformed into a story of courage, resilience, and redemption. As they departed, the team left behind a monument in the village square, commemorating the victory over Karabulut and honoring the spirits of those who had suffered. Lynette, once a place of fear, became a symbol of hope. Its story passed down through generations as a testament to the power of unity and determination.